They might find a community that gives them a social outlet, people to actually associate with, even date. All I am is a knight with a sword. I mean, like, I'm here to protect you. But because I played king with some of my other daughters, I got put aside. My closed-mindedness caused me a lot of heartache.
What is this man even talking about? Robyn and Kody are having this bizarre conversation about allowing their adult daughters to go to church, and then Kody launches into one of his trademark word salads. I swear, the man must have a garden somewhere because the verbal produce is never ending. And then there's his whole obsession with being a knight. Remember when he literally knighted Caleb during the wedding ceremony? Embarrassing doesn't even begin to cover it. The worst part? Caleb had just lost his mom, and his dad didn't want to be involved in the ceremony. Totally understandable, the man was grieving. But did Kody respect that? Of course not. He shoved him into it anyway. And the speech? Oh, the ceremony. Kody waited until the last second to write anything down, and, shock of all shocks, it was terrible. Didn't even have Maddie and Caleb exchange rings before declaring them married. Just sent them off like, well, that's done. Honestly, I can't stand him. It's not even just that he's ridiculous. It's that he truly believes he's in charge of everyone else's life. Rewatched the episode where Maddie has her second baby, and it was infuriating. She literally tells him twice that the baby needs a diaper change, and he just ignores her so he can hold the baby like it's his divine right. I wanted to crawl through the screen and drag him away by his spaghetti noodle hair. And don't get me started on the time he made some weird paternal decree about one of the girl's future husbands being worthy of fathering his grandchildren. Like, what? Who even thinks like that? If I really try to make sense of his ranting, which, let's be honest, is a full-time job, I think he's trying to say that he was too controlling with his older daughters, so now he's trying to chill out and just be supportive. But instead of actually backing off, he's just rebranding the control as guidance. He's not just weird, he's exhausting. Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to ThreadoraTalks, where the conversations are always next level. I'm your host, Jenna, and today we're turning things up a notch. Trust me, this is one video you do not want to miss. So let's dive right in. Fingers crossed Robyn can get through the next episode without a single smug or sanctimonious comment. Honestly, I'd love for her to just stay quiet, but I'm not holding my breath. Remember when Janelle's mom passed away and Robyn showed up pretending to be supportive? Classic Robyn move. She managed to make it all about her by dramatically mourning the loss of our family's culture. Family culture, really? That might just be her most cringe-worthy moment in a long list of them. Honestly, I hope she doesn't even appear in the next episode. Best case scenario? The cameras caught whatever awful thing went down, and we finally get some answers, without having to hear Robyn wailing about how hard it all was for her. Spare us the tears, Robyn. Oh, and who could forget the Christmas incident? Mary offered to host, and Robyn immediately turned it into a guilt fest. She actually said to Kody, "Remember last year when you were upset that your relationship with your kids wasn't great at Christmas?" Translation: don't bother seeing your kids this year either. Garrison was devastated. Robyn and Kody are two peas in a very toxic pod. They complain constantly, play the victim, throw out insults disguised as concern, and act like they're somehow above everyone else, especially the OG3. After nearly 20 seasons, it's pretty clear. It's always been Robyn and Kody versus Mary, Janelle, and Christine. That's the real storyline. Christine, please just stop. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment on Truly's behalf. She's become painfully cringeworthy. The lap dance at the wedding was already enough to make me recoil. But then she doubled down, pulling out the world's worst stripper moves in that hideous dress right in front of her daughters. Gross, completely inappropriate, and deeply immature. Honestly, how does David tolerate it? Maybe the paycheck helps. Because if I have to hear Christine compare her new marriage to her relationship with Kody one more time, I might scream. For a split second, I was genuinely rooting for her, cheering when she finally walked away from Kody. But then she did a full 180 and turned into someone even more exhausting. Now, every time she appears or opens her mouth, I cringe. Part of me thinks the constant Kody talk is just for the cameras. Maybe David's fine with being a supporting character in exchange for the reality TV money. But I also think there's truth to the idea that Christine's emotional development got stunted back when she married Kody. She seems emotionally frozen in that time, like she's just now trying to reclaim something she lost in her 20s. I wouldn't be surprised if parts of the show are set up. Not fully scripted, but definitely prompted. That said, her immaturity makes sense in context. When Christine joined the family, Mary and Janelle were already in a mess. Christine was expected to somehow fix the dynamic between two grown women and a shared husband while also becoming a full-time mom to nearly all of the Brown kids. She didn't get time to grow up. She didn't have friends to vent to, celebrate with, or lean on. It was emotionally isolating. And then, surprise, Kody brings in another wife, and the already dysfunctional dynamic explodes. It's not hard to imagine why Christine's personal development stalled. I do think she's paid to keep talking about Kody. Off camera? I doubt she brings him up unless the kids do. And yes, it's refreshing to see her with someone who clearly finds her attractive, especially after Kody said he didn't. She's in love, she's having good sex, and she wants the world to know it. But yeah, it's still super awkward when your mom starts acting overtly sexual on national TV. All kids hate that. To be fair, she seems to rein it in around Truly. Thank God. Most of the over-the-top stuff happens when Mykelti's around, and honestly, Mykelti leans into it in a way that just makes it worse. Christine has always been Christine, for better or worse. It was empowering to see her break out of that cult-like mold, but I can't believe I'm saying this. Kody has somehow been the only adult on the show to express any real self-awareness this season. I still can't stand him, but even he seems to realize now how ridiculous their religion was. That said, I've never liked a single adult on this show. They're all grifters neck-deep in MLM schemes and probably voting red every election. If I had to pick one tolerable adult, it might be Mary, mostly because she supports her trans kid and seems to have the least terrible politics. But let's be clear, I watch this show because these people are insufferable, not because I admire a single one of them. Except the kids, most of them. I give them a lot more grace, growing up in that chaos. But Pete on? Zero grace. That guy is just openly awful. I'm not sure if this has been discussed before, but I haven't seen it, so here goes. I've been thinking about Mykelti and her black sheep status among Christine's kids. Christine and Kody both made it pretty clear on TV that she was hard to parent, one of the few moments I actually felt bad for her. She constantly butted heads with them and her siblings, always labeled as different, code for too much to handle. At one point, she even went to live with Robyn, who she somehow connected with, for reasons I still don't fully understand. Given what we now know about Kody's stellar parenting skills, read none, that wasn't surprising. But Christine didn't exactly win any Mother of the Year awards with how she treated Mykelti either. Fast forward to adulthood. Mykelti gets married, starts her own family, and suddenly she and Christine are besties. Like, annoyingly inseparable. And not in a cute way. It's giving peak theater kid energy, double cast as main character in every scene. They're exhausting to watch together. Honestly, they bring out the worst in each other. Loud, dramatic, and desperate for the spotlight. What's wild is how Mykelti somehow became Christine's life coach. Marriage advice? Mykelti. Dating advice? Mykelti. Life decisions? You guessed it, Mykelti. When exactly did that shift happen? Was it always there, simmering beneath the teenage angst? Were they always just too similar? Big personalities, attention-seeking tendencies, and that's why they clashed so hard back in the day? And then there's Kody. I'm not saying he liked any of Christine's kids. He didn't. But he seemed especially annoyed by Mykelti. Maybe it's because she reminded him too much of Christine, or because she also has a hefty dose of his own worst traits. Either way, she irritated him more than the others, and that's saying something. Let's be real. The only time he really paid attention to her was when Robyn needed a babysitter, and in Mykelti's eyes, that apparently meant her father loved her. He probably does, but let's not confuse love with like. Big difference. Most of Mykelti's loud personality traits seem rooted in a need for attention, something both Christine and Kody share, by the way. So naturally, she was pegged as the problem child for being loud, rebellious, and impossible to ignore. Now that she's grown, she and Christine get along great because, well, they're basically the same person. They both crave attention, feed off each other's energy, and enable one another's worst habits. And Christine probably leans on Mykelti for advice because she sees her in a relationship Christine never had. Mutual, maybe even stable. Plus, Mykelti plays along with Christine's silliness instead of rolling her eyes at it. She's the perfect blend of Christine and Kody. Loud, dramatic, always on. That combo probably drove everyone in the house crazy, but she's also the most willing to share everything on camera, no matter how cringy. Like teasing her siblings about their sex lives. Seriously, ew. Because of that, we see way more of her dynamic with Christine than with the other, more private siblings. At the end of the day, Mykelti learned that loyalty, especially to Kody, gets her what she wants. Attention. And for someone like Kody, whose love is always transactional, give him praise, boost his ego, or get out, that works just fine. But heaven forbid you outshine him. Then you're the problem. The saddest thing about Kody, for me anyway, and I've watched since the beginning, is how completely he's rewritten his own history. I was solidly Team Kody until COVID hit, believe it or not. But now? The way he dismisses everything he built with the original 3 wives is just depressing. I get that he's hurt. How dare those ungrateful women leave him, right? But to go around acting like those marriages were a lifelong burden? Saying things like, I never loved her, or she wanted me to marry her, like he was dragged into it all? It's just pathetic. What really stings is he doesn't even bother to say something basic like, it wasn't perfect, but hey, we got some great kids out of it. Nope. It's all doom, gloom, and victimhood. Someone asked me, you were Team Kody? Seriously, why? Fair question. I think it's because Kody has always needed to feel like the hero, the center of attention, probably rooted in his relationship with his dad. The original 3 wives? They've seen the real Kody. They've been through the mess. But Robyn? She came in later, never struggled with him the way they did, and treats him like he's some knight in shining armor. And of course, he clings to that like it's life support. Remember when Christine was leaving and dared to say polygamy wasn't working for her? Kody got all self-righteous, like, if it weren't for polygamy, you wouldn't have your kids and family. But now he's the one wallowing in regret over those same women he once loved. If I were one of his kids, I'd be wondering if he regrets me too. Honestly, I can't imagine watching the show now if you ever thought Kody was a good guy. I was never on the Robyn is the devil train back then. But now? Pre-COVID, I just thought Kody was a cringy egomaniac and Robyn was kind of a whiny pain. Post-COVID? I'm like, would it be too much to call the FBI and ask if consumer, tax, or mortgage fraud is happening? That's how hard I've flipped on these two. When is it over? Seriously, at what point do TLC and the Sister Wives fanbase just admit they've had enough of paying for this overproduced charade? Or is reality TV such a sad mirror of our culture that we'll shell out $40,000 per person, per episode, for 15 minutes of scripted nonsense from people we wouldn't hand a five to if they were panhandling on the sidewalk? Let's be honest. TLC doesn't cancel shows unless a crime's involved and they absolutely have no choice. So what's the magic moment when we all collectively stop watching? That's the real truth I keep shouting to anyone who'll listen. I quit watching after Garrison passed. That was the line for me. I couldn't justify contributing to the income stream of people who seem to profit from real tragedy. Plus, let's face it, the show just wasn't entertaining anymore. The cost, emotionally and otherwise, was way too high for the family. Now, I just catch updates online. And even that's getting old. I'd gladly never hear about it again, especially if they'd finally cancel the show. We'd all survive, I promise. The cast would be fine too. Well, except for Kody and Robyn. But honestly, watching them squirm might be the one upside. Yes, the $40K per person figure is unconfirmed. But have you seen TLC's lineup? They don't exactly specialize in uplifting stories about model citizens. Contrived drama is practically their brand. I'm sticking around just long enough to see how they handle Garrison's story. After that, I'm out. I can't take another second of Kody and Robyn's fake scenes. Christine gushing over David? Over it. Mary and Jen are at least entertaining. And maybe I'd watch Janelle launch her Tata Farms t-shirt line. Imagine her picking slogans. Now that's a show. But as long as they're filming more couch confessionals where each person reacts to what the other said last week, pass. Honestly, the show will probably die off when rants like this stop appearing. And let's not kid ourselves. You're just as hooked as the rest of us, if not more. That scene, when Mary, visibly hurt and feeling iced out from Maddie's birth, dared to express her feelings, and Christine took the opportunity to deliver a line that could cut steel. You bring a lot of baggage with you when you come into a room. Ouch. Subtle as a brick. It felt less like a moment of honest communication and more like a public shaming disguised as tough love. Harsh? Definitely. Necessary? Debatable. Unless you think kicking someone while they're already down is a productive strategy. And let's not forget the irony here. Mary was the only one who actually respected Maddie's birth wishes. The other three? They basically RSVP'd themselves in. But somehow, Mary ends up being the villain for not showing up uninvited. Make it make sense. Of course, this is reality TV 101. Give the audience just enough of the story to form opinions, then bury the rest under 21 seasons of selective editing and cryptic confessionals. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with only the edge pieces and a handful of interviews from the adult kids who finally decided to spill the tea. And let's be real, everyone in that family is carrying luggage the size of a Samsonite warehouse. Years in a controlling environment, competing for Kody's attention, and being nudged into drama for the cameras? Yeah, no one's baggage-free here. Christine used to be one of the few who could speak openly to Mary. They even claimed to have had a good relationship. But somewhere along the way, Mary went too far. Christine's words, not ours. And the friendship hit a wall. That baggage comment might have been less of a spontaneous observation and more of a carefully aimed shot. Bottom line, we're watching fragments of real people's lives, chopped up and dramatized for entertainment. The truth is probably more complicated, but hey, where's the fun and nuance? All right, now I want to hear from you. Sound off in the comments and let me know where you stand. Agree, disagree, or something in between? And if you're enjoying the vibe, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop. Your voice counts, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging with me.